Okay, we've got a new game here. This hand looks pretty good. It's got some interaction. It's got ways to dig for more cards. A couple lands. We're going to keep in a Sacred Foundry. Is this burn again? No, it's energy. Okay. Well, what I've figured out, I think, about these energy decks is you just have to slow them down by any means possible. So because we're on the draw, the card we're losing here doesn't hurt it as bad. And this kind of matchup, usually if we just get a turn 3 or turn 4 Cascade, that's enough. The only reason it wouldn't be is if they start getting in chip damage, they get a bunch of energy, and then they can finish you off with Flage and the Static Prisons. Okay, we just need a Cascade spell. Not that one. I'm not using the Street or Aether yet because I want to see if I can get by without it. Life total is a big deal in this matchup. They tend to finish you off with Flage and Goblin Bombardment. I will force this if I can. I haven't seen main deck Disruptor Flutes out of energy yet. Okay, well, so now it costs 5 mana. No, it costs 6 mana now. The good news is we have lands and he does not have a clock yet. He should choose Living End. Yep, that makes sense. A little bit late on that Force of Negation. He has chosen not to replay the Guide of Souls. There's Ragavan. It's dashed, so I hate when these things hit the card we're looking for. If this hits a Shardless Age, then I'm going to be a little bit irritated. But we can't cast it yet anyway. But we do have Sink into Stupor. We can bounce the Disruptor Flute on an end step. Hit Breeding Pool. Okay, that's pretty good. I'm glad he hit that. I didn't want to draw that. I'm going to use Waker Waves. Hopefully we can get a... Yeah, there's the guide. If we get like Living End Subtlety here, I'll take the Subtlety and I'll counter that. Well, if we take Ardent Plea, we don't have a white source. If we take the white source, we don't have Ardent Plea. I think overall I'll take the Ardent Plea because we have fetches in our deck. Plus we have Ints, so we have 8 ways to go get a white source. Didn't need to draw it. I'm not going to bounce Disruptor Flute yet because we can't untap into Living End unless we just know we're going to rip the Plains, which I don't think we're going to do. So I'm just going to cycle. Because he's already committed mana, he can't cast a 4-mana spell. Okay, that's good. Very glad we cycled, even though it's just totally random. But the thing is, so even if we kill Disruptor Flute, we still don't have the white source, so we still need to get kind of lucky with that. But even an Ent here would do it. Alright, I'm glad he hit Force of Negation there. And I'll Force of Negation just about anything I can at this point. Well, we can't do that. But he's going to have 3 energy. He's going to have 4 energy if he stacks it correctly. So he could hit a 1-ring here. Yeah, if he stacks this right, he gets more energy. Looks like he's done that. He goes up to 4 energy and he exiles 2 cards. Or 1 card. Until you exile a non-land card. He's choosing not to cast the prison. Makes sense. And let's take this out because it gives us opportunity to hit a huge land here and go for an easy win. Even though it's not guaranteed. He gets the Parlor. Hopefully he doesn't bin a Flage. Okay, puts Arid Mesa into his graveyard. Okay, there we go. That's what I wanted. Charlotte's Agent. There we go. I'm going to play the land. No, yeah, I'm going to play the land because we already have useless cards to pitch to Force of Negation, and I like making my land drops. I'm not going to target the Shardless Agent. Maybe I should have. Maybe he's got... Well, if he has Anger of the Gods, it doesn't matter. If he has like a Wrath of God or Fracture of the Skies. But I haven't seen them playing that card. You know, maybe that was a huge punt. Okay, he doesn't. Yeah, I haven't seen him playing that board wipe main deck. He can get a Johnny. That's a little bit threatening. His creatures are all very small because of Waker Waves. They lose a power. So I'm not afraid of him like swinging back and killing me as long as this thing's on the battlefield. But just getting a Johnny, the Planeswalker, into play is reasonably threatening if he can deal with our flyer, which he can. Oh, he didn't even go after a flyer. So the reason I think flyers are more important to go after is because this Johnny can tick up once and then board wipe. I want to cycle. And I want to draw the Endurance. Getting rid of his graveyard could matter. And just having another flash option available to us. This isn't lethal no matter how I attack. But I'm going to send everything that doesn't die to that Raptor's first strike. He can get a Johnny here. The Planeswalker. And then that's reasonably threatening. But then I can end step Endurance or I can Force of Negation something. I will hardcast Force of Endurance on basically... No, I won't. I'll not hardcast Force of Endurance. I'll Force of Endurance. I'll pitch Force of Negation to basically any removal spell he casts here. That way I can still cast Endurance. That's what I was getting at. I like the Sunflower Plains our opponent is playing. This is a good one. Okay, gets an energy. He only has 1 card in hand. It's got to be pretty good for him to win the game. He might know he's playing into this, and he wants to bait out more creatures for Shatter the Skies or whatever the energy-based board wipe is called. However, I have Force of Negation. If I did not have Force of Negation, I don't think I would have flashed in the Endurance. Probably just would have chump blocked. If a Johnny goes up, we have to attack it. If it stays where it is, it's not threatening to use this -4 where I have to sack all my creatures except 1. Ragavan comes back as a blocker. Okay. That was his only card in hand. So Johnny stays at 3, and then it can take out either subtlety or endurance. He goes for subtlety. I agree, the flyers are threatening to his Ajani, which is one of his only ways to stay in this game. Ajani does so much work against us. I've played some games that weren't recorded where I was in a winning board state and Ajani totally brought him back in and let him do like enough damage to just eke out a win. Okay, so let's attack. Let's cycle first. I might draw something good. I get to scry here too. I'm just going to top that. That's a reasonable cast. And we're going to make the same attack as last turn. That's going at him. That's going at him. Flyer is going at Ajani. And we're putting pressure on him here. I want to whittle down his board because he could play like a Goblin Bombardment and just kind of steal a win. So what do we value more? Taking away his ability for Ragavan to do damage to us, or him being able to make a cat bigger? I think I'd rather kill Ragavan. He could do something weird like hit us somehow and then get an int and cast it. And we still have pitch force of negation, so. All right, that was a relatively clean win. Because he seems like he's pretty all in on artifacts and enchantments, I'm going to bring in all this enchantment and artifact removal. Don't want Commandeer. I don't want Flare Denial to play. Because I brought in a Boseiju, I think I can take out a Street Wraith. And just because life total matters a lot in this matchup. And I kind of want to take out Press the Enemy, but I don't know. I feel like that's a card that can steal wins in this matchup. Because I'm on the draw, I'm okay taking out an Ardent Plea. Okay, game 2 here. If this hand had more lands in it, I would be tempted to keep, because Press the Enemy can be a cascade spell with this living end. But with only one land, I'm going to mulligan. Especially with no cyclers besides Street Wraith. And here's a good hand. I'll keep it and ship back living end. Well, it's really not that good of a hand. There's 2 living ends in it, but beggars can't be choosers. Take a white land here. That subtlety might be a little bit too late, but I'm actually going to keep it on top. I can go get it here, and if he tries to play a creature, I can go get it. And if he tries to play Disruptor Fleet, we have it covered with Boseiju. I'm going to act like I'm digging for a force. So this game's going pretty well. About as well as it can go when your opening hand has 2 living ends in it. I'm going to look for a better land to play. I would have liked to have found a shock land or another surveil land there. I think Disruptor Flute main deck is really just trying to hedge against Belcher. I can't think of another reason why you'd want this card main, even if you're really good at identifying what your opponent's win condition is, it just slows you down. The appeal of this deck is it's basically a rush down deck that starts refilling its hand with the One Ring, and it has late game with Flage. I'm gonna see what I get if we get a Shardless Agent here. Oh, there's an Ardent Plea. That's all right. So I'm gonna let that resolve. I think whatever he plays next will probably be more threatening. Yeah. I don't need Sink into Stupor. I already have Beseiju. Without more energy, Guide of Souls is a little bit anemic. And the faster he can make an Ajani Planeswalker, the further up it can tick and make my initial living end almost useless by way of being a mass removal spell. That's a really good draw. That was maybe the best draw on the deck. Now we can fetch for a green-white land, Temple Garden, and then Beseiju, Disruptor Flute. As long as he doesn't play another Disruptor Flute. Another Disruptor Flute would be pretty BA of him. Yep, that resolves. And I'm glad he wasted his turn doing that. I kind of wanted it to, I mean, I didn't have a choice, but it's a benefit that it looked like we didn't have a Cascade spell, which we effectively didn't last turn, and it makes him just want to do this again. If he knew that we were going to just kill all these, he'd probably bottom that and start looking for Flages. Maybe I'm giving myself a little bit too much credit here. Maybe these are just obvious plays that anybody would have made. But if all goes according to plan, we're going to kill both these cats at the same time so Johnny doesn't come back. Maybe putting something on the stack here will bait out a lightning bolt on the cat. No, okay. Beseiju. One of the most busted Magic cards of all time, Beseiju Who Endures. Like, what are you supposed to do when your opponent plays this? Bryant Cook, the Epic Storm player, says he hates that card. Says it might be his least favorite Magic card ever. I can see why. He's going after me. And he's not leaving a white mana open. Okay, but he could have Orm's Chant. Okay, so I think that actually represents that our opponent has Orm's Chant. He's doing it at the wrong time. He should have waited. Well, now I can go get a Surveil in. I only take 1 damage instead of 2. And now even if he has Disruptor Flute, we're covered. He needs another Orm's Chant or a Thraben Charm. And we've already gotten 2 hate pieces out of him. He might be new to the deck. He might not realize that that Orange Chant is much better once you draw out the Cascade spell. Yep, here comes Ravioli. Who else likes Magic Aid? I think that guy's great. It's easier to say than Ragavan. Ravioli. Okay, does he go for the counters? Yes, he does. What does my life total go to? I could count, or I could just let Magic Online tell me. I go to 6. Okay, so even we're not dead to a Lightning Bolt. Shardless Agent, and you want to cast it? That's actually a really good spell for him to hit. He went to his end step, though. So he's symbolizing he's either just got more hate, Or I'm going to graveyard that. He didn't stop and think about playing Shardless Agent, because Shardless Agent could have hit almost like all of the good stuff in his deck for free, including Lightning Bolt. Does he have another chant here? He's got to stop on my upkeep. No, he doesn't. Okay, I'm going to play this tapped. And that could have been a massive pump by our opponent, although he doesn't have it. Okay. So he wasted an Orange Chant, and then in my opinion, he wasted a casting of a Shardless Agent. Now, I could have actually netted a life by playing that land untapped and then using that 2 mana to gain 3 life. So I could have taken a risk there to gain 1 life. But as it stands, and by gain life, I mean use the food token from Generous in it. But as it stands, he needs 2 cards to beat us. He needs like Flage Lightning Bolt. Or 2 Lightning Bolts. This cannot get a Flage because he doesn't have any mana. Or any energy. And then yeah. The remaining 2 cards in his deck, he can't win. He would need land and then 2 Lightning Bolts. Okay, we've gotten past energy. This matchup is supposedly pretty good for Living End. I've gone about 50-50 with it, but that could be a skill issue. The better Living End players are reporting good results in this matchup. Now, opponent's not giving up yet. I think we just attack with everybody. Maybe leave back 1 blocker. Okay, Sky Turtle makes us fairly safe. One, two, three. So if we just hit with the Flyers, that's 14. He's dead in 2 turns. 14 plus 5 is 19. So this is lethal if we attack with everybody. He has to block. And he can double Flage next turn. No, he can't. He would need to have a land. Okay. I'm going to leave up Sky Turtle food token. I'm just going to bounce the Raptor if he goes to attack. Bounce the Raptor. That's a little loose because now that allows him to hit the 1 ring. So he could hit the 1 ring here, cast it, and then buy a turn. That would take up all of his energy, so then he wouldn't have any energy left to cast, like, Shatter the Sky. Okay, there's the Raptor that we knew about. I don't want any funny business. I'm just going to gain the life. All right, we did it.